Let's be counted as we move on. Make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful, we are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.
It is Saturday and it is time for Able Differently, a program where we not only talk about matters affecting persons with disabilities, but also give you insights to what is happening around you and your hood.
And in today's program, we take a little bit focus on matters mental health and inclusivity. I am Benson Mungai.
And I, Stella Tioi.
Karibu.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Now, sports plays a very important role in the lives of persons with disabilities, and this is why the first ever East Africa Zone 5 wheelchair basketball was organized here in Kenya. Our team was at the Kasarani Sports Stadium, and this is a compilation of the day.
East Africa Zone 5 Wheelchair Basketball Championship was held in the indoor arena of Kasarani Stadium from 18th to 20th October.
And we started way back in March when I felt that this team actually should need at least an international tournament. Then my people, or rather my players, had been training throughout the year, because it's not that we are new in the sport, because we have participated in so many international tournaments, international matches, and now we thought that we should not leave behind our neighboring countries. Then I had to engage them so that we can come up with this Zone 5, or rather East Africa Zone 5 Wheelchair Basketball Championship.
The competition covered East Africa countries. However, only 3 countries participated.
Actually, this is the first time for us to be in these competitions, to come and interact with it at national level. Actually, this is our first time to be in this game. The performance is not bad, though we lost a game yesterday, but I know the next game we shall win, and we are going to win it. The next game is ours.
The game so far has been competitive, but never again. I must say my girls have done well. It is our first time in an international game, and we've never had any game at home with ladies, fellow ladies. We've been playing ladies in one team for men, ladies in one team for men, like that. We've never had like a real match like today.
Na D-Day moja mwaka juzi tuliwaalika wa Kenya, wakaja kule ndo tukacheza, lakini ilikuwa tu kama tu urafiki. Ila katika mashindano hasa ambayo toka tumeanza hatujawahi kushiriki, na ndio ya kwanza ni haya.
Sisi kwa nchi yetu kwa hii competition kubwa, mimi naweza kusema kubwa kwa sababu kwanza mwanzo tulitegemea tuliweza kupata timu nyingi kama ambavyo information ilikuja mwanzo kwamba tuko na timu kutoka Kongo, Sudani, somewhere. Lakini tukaona kwamba tunahitaji kwenda compete, sio tu compete, lakini pia kuweza kupata opportunities ambazo tunaweza kutambulika na IWBF, chama ambayo inasimamia wheelchair basketball duniani. So kwa sisi program tunafanya, na tuko na program za adults, lakini tuko na program pia za youth. Na kwenye wheelchair basketball tuko na program pia za kwenye schools ambazo ziko na watoto wenye disabilities, especially kwenye shule ambayo iko na disability ya physical.
And when I engaged these East Africa countries, I got a positive reception, and they were much willing to come and participate in this championship. So I had also to engage our international federation, that's IWBF, International Wheelchair Basketball Federation, so that they can give us a confirmation, or rather they can confirm our tournament as an international one.
The first of its kind in Kenya, the championship saw the three teams play against each other, with Kenya taking an early lead.
For men, we have qualified for the finals. Even for women, we are above par.
We just won our semis, so now we are up to the finals tomorrow.
The game has been really good, and we've been competing against two other countries, that is Tanzania and Uganda, and so far so good.
There were a number of hitches, but the love for the game kept the teams going.
The main challenge in wheelchair basketball is the wheelchairs. You know, it's a very expensive, and sometimes the court. Huwezi chezea baskeli hii kwenye rough court, inakuwa itaharibika mara kwa mara, lakini challenge kubwa iko hiyo baskeli. Kwa hiyo kwa sasa since last time tulikuwa tukicheza kama naweza sema 10 years ago, lakini tulikuja kustop kwa sababu challenge ilikuwa hiyo baskeli, lakini sasa tukapata ufadhili, tumepata baskeli almost 24. Kwa sasa hivi ni kama mwaka wa 4 tuna train, na hata hiyo program ya youth na watoto tumeanzisha sasa, lakini kama mwaka wa 3.
Challenges makes us stronger, and it is the hope of the organizers that things will be better in the future, as this tournament is a step towards getting recognition worldwide.
For this one, I can say the government didn't come 100% as we wish to be. First of all, you can see the kits they are wearing. We have only one kit, both the ladies and the men. So it's a challenge for us. We hope in future the government will come to our aid. Yeah.
Cause we're differently abled, differently.
We are taking a short break, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Welcome back, and in case you've just joined us, this is Able Differently, a program where we take charge. Now, persons with mental health for a long time have been neglected, but not anymore. Cheshire Disability Services together with Mental Voices Africa have noticed this trend and are working to raise our red flag to end this trend. Take a look.
The Constitution of Kenya provides for the inclusion of persons with disabilities in employment, and many organizations have come up to ensure that this is implemented. Cheshire Disability Services Kenya, CDSK, has also undertaken this cause through their employability project.
There are times where we implement projects direct in the country, and we were implementing a project in employable project, whereby it was targeting youth living with all types of disabilities between the age of 15 to 30 years. And when we are implementing that project, it's when we came to realize there are some of the disabilities that are invisible.
It is during the engagement out in the field that they realized of a neglected group of persons with disability and had to find a way of bringing this group on board.
Cheshire Disability Services Kenya is working, and it's very passionate dealing with the mental disability, whereby we've come to realize that a lot of awareness is needed because employers are not aware of this condition. Many people are affected, but the moment you disclose this to the employer, the next minute the person is sacked. And it is a condition that can be managed and somebody continue working and living a better life.
Mental Voices Africa, together with CDSK, were able to get the youth who could tell their stories out to the world to create awareness on mental health. Alexa from Rooted in Rights played a big part in ensuring that the clips could tell the story.
And last May, the Professional Fellows Program for Inclusive Disability Employment reached out to our organization to partner us with Noella Luca, who's a documentary filmmaker in Kenya, to see if we could host her for a month and discuss ways that the advocacy work that she was doing could pair with the advocacy work that we were doing.
The project, which is in its first phase, is a success so far, with a number of youths already on board.
Coming together in this program, it has helped me to be able to talk about myself without any fear, and this has helped me to at least higher my self-esteem so that I can tell the people, I can be an advocate of mental illness. Early on, it was difficult to tell people what I was suffering, and coming to this program, it has encouraged me. Meeting other people who have the same problems like I have has encouraged me to talk myself.
The experience was very good because we happened to have been taught by Noella and Alexa Laycock on how to make a video through using our mobile phones. It was really a very wonderful experience, and given that it was a short one by that time, just for a start, we will ensure that we make others on our own using our phones and the available equipments.
Push me to doing advocacy on mental health is my lived experience with a mental health illness, where I experienced some amount of discrimination and also stigma. And I realized that all this happened because people didn't have information, and their attitude towards the mental health problem, or the idea of mental health problem, was mainly due to lack of information. And that's what I've been trying to do, or been doing, with people like Noella and other people who are championing for mental health.
The project, which is in its first phase, is a success so far, with a number of youth already on board. Eva also attests to the importance of awareness.
I came to know about the group because we were the initial people who formed it. We came together and realized that there was a need for people to be given awareness about mental health issues, because people are like, they don't know what it is, and they are mistreating people because of lack of knowledge. So it is an advocacy program that we initiated last year, and I am being the parent in the group. I am like the overall person to help those youths with mental problems and give them away, and also the parents by showing them where to take their cases. Like if a parent is having a child with a mental health issue, where to refer, and the help that she or he can get from the group or from me, and also how to handle kids with mental problems.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Inclusive Diversity Africa Conference was held at Safari Park on the 17th of October this year, with the main aim of making inclusion an everyday reality. Have a look.
Differently from those unmarried, and especially for
The Inclusive Diversity Africa Conference was held on October 17, 2019, with an aim of making inclusion an everyday reality for sustainable development.
Just the basic understanding of diversity is understanding each individual's unique, understanding that each individual is unique, and recognizing our individual differences. And the differences could be on race, they could be ethnic, they could be gender, they could be sexual orientation, they could be social economic status, they could be physical abilities, religious beliefs, political beliefs, and any other ideologies. Keywords being acceptance and respect. Acceptance and respect.
In order to embrace diversity, organizations need to maintain a blended culture that allows for enhancement of cultural policies at the workplace. Since time immemorial, gender diversity is still a thorn in the flesh to many, but thanks to the Kenyan Constitution, which has countered it by providing advocacy in different aspects.
Consider special interest groups to include women, to include youth, to include children, to include older members of society, to include minorities and marginalized, and to include persons with disability. Article 55 gives the rights of the young people. article including the rights of employment, the rights to access education and training, and the rights to access employment and to get employment opportunities. Article 53 on children. Again, in our old constitution, it was easy to discriminate children born out of wedlock and children born in wedlock. For the purposes of our new constitution, all children are children, whether born in wedlock or born out of wedlock, and all the children have rights. Rights to a name, rights to education, rights to equal parental responsibility of the mother and the father, the rights of children in Article 53. The rights for persons with disability in Article 54. Particular relevance to this one is the 5% employment requirement by our constitution. Just as we have the not more than 2/3 rule for the women, we have 5% progressive employment for persons with disability. And you have to remember that for us to get to employment, education is very critical. So the HELP programs, does Higher Education Loans Board, for example, have loans dedicated to students with disability? Students with visual impairment, students with hearing impairment, do we have allocations for help for those students so that if they get their education, they could then get onto the workforce and enjoy the 5% rule? Diversity is not an end. Diversity is a means to an end. We are saying that with all our individual talents, we are collectively much better in addressing our development challenges. So that diversity becomes a tool for us of moving us to development. And that's what you find in the BBI, the 9-point agenda, very heavy on inclusion of all, in the various the differences we have mentioned before. But more importantly, the final point of the BBI is shared prosperity, that we are getting diverse for the purposes of enjoying a shared prosperity here in our country. Thank you.
The event saw various stakeholders come together to make it a success.
I chose to come today to this event so that I can learn more on inclusivity in the workplace and how we can incorporate persons with a disability in our day-to-day duties, that is, or how we can involve them in any setup, in any organization setup, and also to create more employment for persons with disability because they are persons like any other persons.
The way to achieve a progressive organization that is ready to work and yield results is to focus not only on the quality but the quantity of inclusion.
Disability is not inability because I myself am a person with a disability. I'm a fully registered, but my inability has not made any changes in my life. So I chose to work hard despite the challenges that I may face. Yeah, so anybody can do it.
Personally, I work with an organization for women with disabilities. It's a space that I founded called Women and Realities of Disability, and we run non-funded programs. Especially, we disseminate information on inclusive an inclusive society for women with disabilities. And most of the work that we do is virtual work, like we work from a virtual space. So I'd say so far, working from a virtual space, that is the internet, it's so far inclusive to some extent for those people who can access the internet. For us to realize an inclusive society, it needs to be like a teamwork. It needs to be a teamwork in the sense that the government needs to support the civil society, and the media needs to be a mainstream, like the mainstream media need to open up more. We don't need to have like special media houses or special programs in the media that address issues of persons with disabilities, because it's like we're still playing our own game and cheering ourselves and celebrating our own victory, which to me doesn't really carry enough weight. We need to work towards conventional advocacy, whereby people without disabilities come in and start advocating for inclusion of persons with disabilities. So that's what I can say inclusive diversity is supposed to be.
At the end of the day, what we want to have is bring different stakeholders together. So sometimes, like in my field, I work towards empowering women, but there are also aspects that deal with youth. I mean, this country is full of youth. What are the issues that are facing youth? How can we narrow that gap? How can we create opportunities? How can we mentor? How can we be adequate role models? There's also disability. So sometimes when we all sit together and we talk about diversity and going really granular, not only talking about representation, but talking about culture, talking about policies, and just talking about the opportunities and the ability to just promote equality and dignity for underrepresented and marginalized groups.
Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Let's take a look at the UN Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Article 6 of the UN Convention states that state parties recognize that women and girls with disabilities are subject to multiple discrimination, and in this regard shall take measures to ensure the full and equal enjoyment by them of all human rights and fundamental freedoms.
Never refer to a person with disability as a victim. Rather, refer to them as a warrior or survivor.
By referring to them as victims, you are taking away their power and ability, because the emphasis is more on what they did to overcome rather than what happened.
And that's all we had for you today. Let's meet again next week, same time. I am Benson Mungai.
And I, Stella Tioi. Kwaheri.